Grandmaster Kramnik had started his campaign against cheaters and against assumed cheaters long ago. I was quite shocked when I learned at the end of March 2024 that Grandmaster Kramnik had played from the account Krakozia entitled Tuesdays, and this account belongs to Grandmaster Denis Hizmatulin. So it's not allowed. I would call it a fair play violation, not cheating. Cheating is more serious, and Grandmaster Kramnik did not do this to gain money or like this, but probably had some reasons. I cannot speak for him, but I was quite shocked by this, and I was also quite shocked in mid-May when I learned that there was some statistics published by Grandmaster Kramnik. It was something about so-called cheating Tuesdays, as he calls it, contrary to the official name titled Tuesdays. And I was on the third place in the list, which gave the impression that it was somehow connected to cheating. I want to stress that Grandmaster Kramnik did not accuse me, and I mean, I don't know whom he accused or if he asked questions. Basically, there were some names in red. My name was not in red, but somehow it still felt odd because I was ranked third here in the list, and I was ahead of such great players like Magnus Carlsen, who is of course much stronger than me. There are other players who are much stronger. For example, Hikaru Nakamura was playing in those tournaments, and many others. And my results were good. I would say about my average, but far from great. I mean, I have not won a single prize at that period. And when I read about it first, I was not. I even briefly had the impression that Grandmaster Kramnik was accusing me. Basically, I left this impression, and except for my very first reaction, I just claimed that I did not know whether he was accusing me or not, but his fans were accusing me after I reacted to this quite radically, writing that I would complain about this. So I got accused by many of his fans and supporters online in numerous online discussions, and it was really unpleasant. So basically, I complained to FIDE about a combination of four things, which in themselves would not be so serious, perhaps, but when combined together, somehow they looked serious to me. That Grandmaster Kramnik had played from Denis Hizmatulin's account, thus violating the fair play rules of, terms of services of chess.com, that he accused many players. I mean, I understand that he accused many players, but I think in some cases it was really unfounded. For example, that famous case with Tikhon Chernyaev, who was a minor back then. So, I mean, it was about one move which appeared strange to Grandmaster Kramnik, but it was a move which talented young tactician can find. I mean, nothing so extraordinary. And to me, it looked odd that such a legend says this, and I mean, many statements similar to this, maybe. Then I had the feeling that Grandmaster Kramnik's use of statistics was quite problematic in many cases, which is also something what Professor Regan says, as long as I understand him correctly. Eventually, I was unhappy about me and other players, honest players, finding ourselves connected to cheating in that tweet, because it was called Cheating Tuesdays, or not called, but it was in the title somewhere. Basically, I was unhappy about it, and unfortunately, I mean, I was too angry and too shocked, so I did not care to learn the FIDE ethics code or like this, how should an appeal look, and so on. Because if I did, I would have realized that one could not complain about something, some damage which happened to someone else. So basically, I was not entitled to complain about how Grandmaster Kramnik played from Denis Hizmatulin's account against other people, nor was I allowed to complain about Grandmaster Kramnik speaking about that game against Tikhon Chernyaev. So basically, without this, my complaint doesn't make sense, because I was not complaining about Grandmaster Kramnik accusing me. It's a misinterpretation. I was basically complaining about a combination of factors, because back then in May he was banned. I mean, he was banned on chess.com for 3 months back then, as far as I remember it correctly, probably from the beginning of April to the end of June or something like this.
You say that you filed this appeal to FIDE, but due to some like legal issues, because you do not have the right to appeal on behalf of other people, like this was not considered. But I think that's not like the main problem. I've read your blog post, and you said that you were on the verge of like ending your life, that you had...
Yes, I mean, it's true. And actually, it was quite sad, because I sometimes have depressions. I mean, I don't know if it's depressions in medicinal sense of the word, but certainly they feel like depressions, and in ordinary sense of the word, they are. And I mean, I felt quite unwell. I had to consult my psychiatrist, had to contact a psychotherapist. I mean, I did not like spend so much time with them. Basically, it's like that I contact my psychiatrist like 4 or 5 times per year, basically. So I just had to contact them to meet them earlier, because I was feeling unwell. But basically, I felt quite some pressure, because I find it hard to deal with stress. And when people in some social media speculate about you and try some nonsense and misinterpret what you have written, what you have done, it's quite unpleasant. And basically, I made the mistake that after the French League, I looked at some discussion, and I mean, it was really unpleasant. And even a player whom I respect as a player, as an annotator, wrote some things which I did not really like showing that he did not understand what I was writing, but still he criticized my message without understanding it properly, which actually happened in this whole case many times, and perhaps also to me. I mean, as for my appeal to FIDE, the main problem was probably that I had to pay some fee to make it valid, but no one informed me, unfortunately. I wrote to all the people whom I found relevant in this connection, because I did not know whom should I contact. I was angry, shocked, and like this, and I wrote, and I actually quite soon one of those FIDE members expressed support for me, but since then there was some silence. I mean, I wrote many messages at the very beginning because I was stressed, and the initial 8 days were really tough for me, because I don't like conflicts. It's basically I feel more comfortable being on friendly terms with people and like this. But somehow I got angry for a reason, but I submitted an appeal which was formally wrong. And basically, if I had studied it properly, I would not have submitted it. But then I was quite sad after returning from the French League and reading this discussion. And I mean, I had depressions, and I mean, it was not for the first time, because, for example, when I was 15, I regularly had suicide thoughts, and because I had some really tough headaches, and it felt very much out of control, because I did not know their cause, and it was really tough for me. But okay, I recovered from that. The headaches have disappeared, and I was doing much better. Although from time to time I had some problems, and back then, also after reading those discussions, I had those problems, quite serious problems, I would say, at least subjectively. And I asked the FIDE officials just whether they would show me and whether they would investigate those statistics of Grandmaster Kramnik or not. If so, when? If not, for which reason? I wrote it politely, apologizing for having had written too many messages earlier, but there was no reply. And I mean, it was quite unpleasant because, I mean, during this conversation, I many times wrote that I was feeling unwell. I mean, it was not a secret, and of course it's true that I should have primarily communicated this to the psychiatrist, which I did, although maybe I should have been more concrete when discussing this with psychiatrists and psychotherapists. And but okay, I have some friends in FIDE and I expected them to reply. And somehow this mostly did not happen, with some rare exceptions. And it was really sad because when you have problems, you hope that your friends at least tell you something like, sorry, we cannot tell you this. And somehow this did not happen. So, okay, or happened to maybe in one case here, one FIDE member had supported me earlier. So it was tough. Basically, they did not know how much was I suffering at times. I mean, it was not that I would suffer the whole half a year or a year, but there were moments when I suffered from it a lot. And basically it felt unpleasant throughout the time because I thought that there was an appeal and I was quite nervous about some things, and also playing a lot of tournaments and tired even from playing so much, and this only added to it. And also when I wrote for the third time about this in December, I got a reply from the FIDE lawyer, and basically he hinted to me that my appeal had been formally wrong, and like this, and wrote that they all respected me, and like this. But somehow it contrasted with the situation when no one cared to reply to me. So I was really, really sad from it and considered committing suicide, which is wrong, of course. I mean, I'm a religious person. I believe that life is a gift, and that gifts should not be taken back, that should not be returned. I mean, that there is some reason why we live here, and that basically there are many good things in our lives, and I'm glad to be there. I am glad to have overcome this crisis, but I mean, it was quite unpleasant. And I have to say that after I published all of this in May 2025, I received some support from many FIDE officials, and even an apology from Mr. Dvorkovich. I will not formulate it. I mean, I do not remember exactly the message, but he apologized to me for something, for not having reacted earlier or something. It was a pleasant surprise for me that he wrote that to me. And like this, I mean, it was tough, but hopefully the situation is getting better now. I had also some sleep disorders in the past few weeks, also during some tournaments, but it's getting better, fortunately, and hopefully it will be better. And I think the main message is that those accusations can sometimes cause damage also, and one should be careful with them. And also that with FIDE, I hope they will take more care in the next cases which are similar, if there are similar cases. And I hope that what I wrote helps to make the atmosphere a bit better. I mean, it was very painful for me to write about this publicly, because it's not a thing which people would like to know, which I would like people to know about me when they look at Google. But okay, I mean, hopefully it helps a bit. Basically, I believe that accusations should primarily be done secretly, like reports. And when someone has good reasons to make public accusations with really good arguments which are convincing not only for that person and for that person's best friends, but also for people with different views. I believe in some cases it can be good, although it's better to be careful with this because it can often make a lot of harm.